DMC4. Where do I even begin with this game? It's hard to think it's been 13 years since it launched back in 2008, and even playing DMC4 recently, it doesn't feel like a 13-year-old game. You know, comparing it to modern day action games or character action games, it actually holds up quite well. At least the combat does. The backtracking and the campaign and the story leaves a little to be desired, but nonetheless it is a classic character action game. But it's hard to think that, though it launched in 2008, it took 11 years for DMC5 to come out. 11 years for the series to achieve a true sequel, for the narrative to be pushed forward. Heck, even DMC5 launched with a tagline, DMC is back, to put people's hearts at ease, I guess, after the series was rebooted and then unrebooted, much to the fanfare of the fans and no doubt the poor sales of the reboot. Though from what I hear, it didn't sell terribly, it didn't sell amazingly either way. And it's funny to think that DMC4 was the best-selling DMC and fastest-selling DMC of its time, and despite all of that success, Capcom still decided to reboot it and outsource development, which, from a business perspective, seems like a very strange choice to make, right? You've got a winning formula on your hands. Why fix anything if it isn't broke? But we're not here to talk about the reboot, we're here to talk about DMC4. It dropped January 31st in Japan, and I believe the last region to receive DMC4 was Europe, receiving it on February 8th. I believe today, when this video goes live, it actually dropped in North America. And I was quite young at the time when this dropped, but I was excited and ecstatic nonetheless. DMC4 was the first game I played when I got a PS3, or when me and my siblings got a PS3. I remember being over the moon with it, you know, and not really caring all too much about some of its downfalls, particularly the story. Whilst I wasn't amazed with the backtracking even when I was that young, I still enjoyed the absolute hell out of it. And even finding Nero to be a welcome addition to the series and the game, though it's interesting to hear that Capcom were initially afraid of, I guess, of fan backlash with Nero being the lead. They apparently actually brought Dante in as a playable character midway through development. Don't quote me on that, because I do not have the interview to hand, but I believe that is the case. No doubt, if I'm wrong, somebody's probably going to roast me in chat. But now we've got Nero, and he's, well, pretty much set up to be the lead for the next DMC, right? You know, Dante and Virgil are essentially off in hell, doing Mundus knows what, you know, faffing about, having their sibling rivalry, and Nero's left with the task of defending the human world. But DMC4 is a game that I still play quite frequently, which I can't say the same for a lot of other games that are 13 years and older. And I still remember hearing the news that DMC4 Special Edition was on its way. If many of you remember, it was actually announced right at the tail end of the DMC Definitive Edition trailer, which, again, seems to be a quite questionable choice. You know, that entire trailer was essentially overshadowed by the fact that the last 10 seconds seemed to announce that DMC4 Special Edition was a thing, and that Virgil would be included. And it was the release of DMC4 SE that revived the community or the series somewhat, in that it provided more content, obviously, for the fans to get stuck into, but it let fans know as well that Capcom hadn't forgotten about the original series and that they weren't doubling down on this reboot. There is no doubt in my mind, though, that Capcom actually used DMC4 SE to gauge interest in a potential sequel. DMC4 SE dropped in 2015, with DMC5 dropping in 2019, which is strange to say and think about, considering it's almost been 2 years. But no doubt they used it to gauge interest, and then, you know, 3 to 4 years dev time after it was greenlit, and boom, we had DMC5 on our hands. But this video is just intended to be a brief celebration of DMC4. It's an amazing game with an even more amazing combat system that is dragged down by its campaign and its backtracking and its pacing issues. Everybody knows that the campaign is lacking in several departments, you know, perhaps due to budget and time constraints, as has been documented in quite a few interviews. But if you ask many fans of the community, they'll say that the combat in this game is second to none. But let me know down in the comments below what you think about DMC4. Where were you when you first tried it? Is it your favorite in the series? Do you like the game despite its backtracking and pacing issues? Let me know down in the comments below. It's hard to think, though, of a series that has been rebooted, then unrebooted, which goes on to sell another title that is the best-selling and fast-selling in the entirety of the franchise. That is going to do it for this video. If you'd like to continue on the DMC discussion, there is a link in the description to the channel's Discord. If you want to get at me on social media, I'll leave a link to my Twitch and my Twitter in the description. And with all that said and done, it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.